Okay, so I'm doing my news analysis reflection on the country of Tunisia and the immigration problem that they've been having as of lately. In Tunisia, they are struggling with the economy and the authoritarian powers rising. And it's also kind of cutting out a lot of other rights that they've had without the authoritarian government. There's also a lot of racial violence going on that has not been stopped because there's not as much money flowing around to law enforcement in that area. So it's hard for the streets to be kept orderly. So there's a lot of crime going, gangs are on the rise, and there's also a lot of smuggling going on. So it's a very unsafe place to be. And the main issue with this is that a bunch of people from Tunisia are illegally immigrating out into Sicily, Lampedusa, and other UK nations. The struggle of this is that they didn't notice how quickly people were coming out until it's too late. And the other main issue is that a lot of people that are taking this aren't exactly making it successfully. Only about 140,000 people have been recorded to have made it successfully, and there's countless of other that have been brought up onto the shorelines and also caught up in fishing nets. They went down to talk to one of the fishermen down in the area where all the smuggling comes through, and they've said that they've come across a lot of people coming in and out, like 40 people on a boat that's not meant for 40 people. And then they'll also pull up their lines and find dead bodies in the lines. And then it really starts to bug them as fishermen, and they find themselves not wanting to do it anymore. However, to make money for their families and for themselves, they go back out there and do it anyways. Another big issue with all the bodies coming up is that local law enforcement, there's not enough manpower for them to go around and clean up all the bodies. So they're constantly struggling, trying to get all these bodies up off the shore and keep everything as clean as possible. So all this immigration is causing an issue to other countries because most of the other countries don't want to bring in the immigration that's coming out. And this is mainly because a lot of the people coming in, they don't know who they are. There's all sorts of issues that comes with illegal immigrants. However, the UK and Germany and a few other bigger nations have chosen to help fund Tunisia in order for Tunisia to get their streets cleaned up to kind of entice people to stay instead of trying to push them out. And there's obviously some other options that they had looked at as well, where the UK, along with Germany, Russia, other countries, they would all kind of band together to kind of broaden the load so not all illegal immigrants come to one country. They kind of spread out to all different countries. And that if the country didn't want to take on the burden of extra people, that they would have to pay X amount for every immigrant they didn't want to take. Now, this is only an option. This hasn't been talked about. It's been thought about, but it hasn't been thrown into action. The main piece that's really been thrown into action is that some of the other European governments are trying to help fund Tunisia so that way more and more people don't try to come out. Another issue too is that the European nations are doing is they're also cracking down on smugglers because they're also trying to cut off the amount of people constantly coming in. Now, these smugglers aren't exactly bad people. They're just doing it for the money because, again, like I said, with them being a part of a struggling economy, a lot of people are going to take up really odd jobs in order to continue to be able to take care of their family. So the main issue, again, failing government, and people are trying to leave that government and come to other more stabilized governments. And most of these other countries don't want to take in the immigration, so they're trying to help fund Tunisia to fix Tunisia and also to cut down on the immigration, at least illegal immigration, that's going on all over the European nations. This was fairly recent, and the video that I came across was probably less than a week old. So this is all constantly going on right now. However, this whole issue started back in 2018 when the economy first started to take a dive and the new authoritarian government started to arise. So this all started in 2018 and it slowly got worse and worse to the point where people of Tunisia are now immigrating out. So the only way to fix this, and that the constant problem is with European nations, is they're trying to figure out whether they need to keep funding Tunisia to fix Tunisia so people don't leave, or whether they need to prepare themselves to take on more and more people as the population of Tunisia lessens because of the bad economic environment and the racial issues.